What is going on, my Patriots? How y'all guys doing? It's your boy Joel Davis, your host, back in the building. If it's your first time tuning into the broadcast, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell up top. Please like and share. Please like and share. Sorry for the intro being about 7 minutes, but I had to make sure I get people in. I know that there's other live streams going on. I don't care. I'm quite sure that by the time you get tired of one, you can go back and forth or you can see this one. You know how we do. Shout out to the new subscribers. Thank you very much for coming in. I love you guys. I appreciate it. Shout out to the people that followed Jericho that came over and now starting following me. I love you guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate your warm support and gesture. Now, with that being said, we got a lot to talk about. The name of this broadcast tonight is Welcome to 1984, starring the government with its control. How did we get here? We're going to break down some of the things that's going on. The Ministry of Truth, aka Disinformation Board. We talked about that this week. We're going to go over that again. We also going to talk about the top Biden official being pressured to resign over the response to the domestic terrorism question. We also going to talk about Elon Musk versus the liberals on Twitter. Oh man, it's getting crazy out here, these Twitter streets. And we also going to discuss even more about the whole wokeness that is going on, that is taking over the DC, aka our nation's capital. And we're going to talk about some things that recently happened at the school district LGBT after school club, and a whole lot more stuff that we're gonna basically get into and uncover. So sit back, relax. Let's jump into the first things first. Man, there you go. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat, Savage, for $5. Joe, long time no see. Keep it raw, brother. You know that's how I do. I'm always gonna keep it raw. So, with that being said, let's jump into the first situation at hand. We're gonna talk about tonight. We're gonna talk about this whole disinformation, something that has gotten everybody going completely nuts, and they have every right to, because it is starting to become more of an inside joke with the Constitution than anything. So let's jump into that and let's jump into this. And this is going to be right here out of Fox News article here. I'm going to read it, and y'all know what we do. As usual, I'll break it down after I read it. Okay. Um, so we're going to talk about some of the things that's going on. I'm not going to play the clip here because it's just too long to talk about. It's 8 minutes long. Oh, my brother. And I'm not going to play an 8 minute long clip tonight. I'm just going to read what is really bothering me. And then I'm going to break it down like we always do over here on the platform. So, free speech concerns mount over Department of Homeland Security Disinformation Board as lawmakers' critics weigh in. Secretary Mayorkas announced the creation of the Disinformation Governance Board Wednesday. Federal and state lawmakers, constitutional scholars, and other experts are expressing concerns with the Department of Homeland Security new misinformation board, which they say is Biden's administration's attempt to stifle free speech. Mayorkas announced during testimony Wednesday before the House Appropriations Subcommittee on Homeland Security that Department Homeland Security and created a disinformation governance board to combat online disinformation. The goal is to bring the resources of DHS together to address this threat, Mayorkas said during the hearing, adding the department is focused on the spreading of disinformation in minority communities ahead of the 2022 midterm elections. Senator Tom Cotton, a Republican out of Arkansas, was quick to condemn this latest action by the Biden administration, promising to introduce legislation to defund the new disinformation board. The federal government has no business creating a ministry of truth. The Department of Homeland Security's Disinformation Board is unconstitutional and un American, and I'll be introducing a bill to defund it, he tweeted Friday. Senator Marco Rubio, Republican out of Florida, similarly tweeted, nothing else we are working on will matter if we don't put an end to the Biden's ministry of truth. And Senator Cynthia Loomis, Republican out of Wyoming, stated, I trust the common sense of the American people. A government arbiter of truth department is a red flag of free thinking people. Senator Rick Scott, who's also a Republican out of Florida, plans to ask Mayorkas more about the board in a hearing next week before the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee. Oversight Committee ranking member Republican James Comer, Republican out of Kentucky, organized a letter Friday to Mayorkas, obtained exclusively by the Fox News Digital, to conduct oversight on the new board and continue efforts within the Biden administration to suppress free speech and discredit legitimate criticism as misinformation. All 19 House oversight Republicans signed the letter. The same party that spent years promoting the Russia collusion hoax suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story and equated parents to terrorists, believes it has credibility to control your speech. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, Republican of California, retweeted on Friday. Biden must immediately abandon his plan to create a Orwellian ministry of truth. Now, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligent Ranking Members, Representative Mike Turner, who's also a Republican out of Ohio, and House Homeland Security Committee ranking member Republican John Katko, a Republican out of New York, also sent a letter to Mayorkas Friday expressing serious concerns about the lack of information about the activities of the board under Jankowicz's leadership. In addition, Republican Lauren Boebert, the Republican out of Colorado, tweeted, I don't think people are fully understanding the severity of what a ministry of truth organized by the Department of Homeland Security truly means. This is Stalin level. This is Mao level. This is the hill to die on. The issue has spread states with GOP lawmakers and leaders pushing back. Clearly, our inviolable principles that the country was founded on, you cannot have a ministry of truth in this country. Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis said during a press conference Friday. So let's get real here. Let's make sure we're doing things to benefit Floridians and Americans, but we're not going to let Biden get away with this one. Now, I'm going to play that clip because I always love Ron DeSantis. I'm going to play that right quick and let y'all hear what he says.
As if they don't have enough issues to deal with, they now have an idea, and I honestly thought this was just a belated April Fool's joke, but they are actually going to create in the Department of Homeland Security a Bureau of Disinformation. It's basically a ministry of truth. And what they want to do is they want to be able to put out false narratives without people being able to speak out and fight back. They want to be able to say things like Russia collusion and perpetuate hoaxes and then have people like us be silenced. They want to be able to advocate for COVID lockdowns. They want to be able to advocate for school closures, things that are not supported by the evidence. But then when you speak out, they want to stifle dissent. And so we reject this bureau in the state of Florida.
Mic on.
Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt wrote a letter to Mayorkas Friday that was obtained exclusively by Fox News Digital. In the letter, Schmidt states that the focus on the Orwellian board to focus resources on the threat of disinformation should shock the very core of the American belief system, a threat to free speech that will rightly alarm freedom-loving people across America, including those in my home state of Missouri. Brookings Institute fellow Senior fellow Shadi Hamid said the disinformation board is not exactly a reassuring thought. How is this even up for debate? The government should not be involved in deciding what is true and false. Hamid continued. Not all the critics are Republicans or conservatives. That the Biden administration casually announced today that the Department of Homeland Security, a domestic security agency, has created a disinformation board is indescribably dystopian and chilling. Independent journalist Glenn Greenwald tweeted Thursday that Democrats think this is good and normal, tells you all you need to know about them. Now, the House defended the DHS board Thursday, saying its objective is to prevent disinformation in a range of communities. It sounds like the objective of the board is to prevent disinformation and misinformation from traveling around the country in a range of communities, while White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said in response to Republican criticism of the board during a daily press briefing, I'm not sure who oppresses that effort. Okay. That is the end of that article. Shout out to Ron DeSantis, guys. I love this. I'm going to go in and I'm going to tell y'all what I feel about the ministry of truth. It is bull. It is BS. It is BS. Let's think about this. If you listen and read the book by George Orwell, 1984, the ministry of truth was about making sure that the government made sure that the people believe what they wanted them to believe. They did not want them to have the access to the truth. Why does this government here, the Democratic Party, do not want this information or certain information to go to certain communities? That is because of the black communities, the brown communities, and other minorities. Why is that? If you look at the graph that CNN put up about earlier this month, the Democratic support, especially in the black community, used to be up to damn near 80%. It has dropped down now to 60 something percent, and it's falling every day. You went from damn near 78% to now you're at 62% for this year. Because see, back in 20 in the 2016 election, you was like the man. You was in the high 70s. When 2020 came along, in the high you was in almost at 80%. When 2020 came along, 2022 is coming, 2020 came along. Now you're in the low 60s. And every day a black American is getting red pilled. Every day. Why are they getting red pilled? Well, look at the communities. Look at what happened with BLM. They were told that BLM was to further the cause of the black perspective of the minorities in the community, and it did not. We've seen more lawsuits in these chapters than we know of. What else have we seen that the government has lied to the Democratic Party about? They told the Democratic supporters that they would make sure that they would get the type of jobs that they were looking for, the type of support. Well, they're not. All they're getting is more food stamps, more free money, but they're not getting no jobs. Who's taking the jobs right now? The guys that's coming in from immigration. You think about this. Right now in America, the way the Democrats got it set up, you can be an immigrant and have your job within no time. So what happens when you starting to see that your plan is falling apart? You got to patch it up. You got to think of something. So this disinformation board is basically something that they can use to their advantage to control the info, just like they did when we had the election for President Trump to get reelected. They started talking about a lot of stuff coming out about Hunter Biden's laptop and these Democrats sleeping with spies and stuff was disinformation. Remember that? It was not fact checked properly. All this mess. We know the game. Listen, Democrats see the writing on the wall. They are going to lose very heavily when midterms come in. Democratic guys are and Democratic women are leaving the party, retiring early because they don't want to be with the radical left, or either that they have decided to switch over to other parties because of the radical left. They know they're going to take some L's. So how do you slow down the L's so you can at least feel like you somewhat in the game? You try to control the spread of information. But you know the thing about the truth, you can't smother the truth. You can't hide the truth. Okay? And because of that, they don't know, they know, or they about to find out that the truth will come out regardless. Let me get to these comments here before we go to the next story. My man says, my boy, Rapper 1000, never let me down. Joel Davis Media Network. Have you noticed a lot of these people complaining about disinformation are activist women who want to control the information like dictators? Yes, of course. Of course. What's going on, Eric? You know they are. How you think they keep getting reelected every time you turn around? And the women they always use are African American women, black women. They always use black women to push the narrative. You seen what we had with Stacey Adams and all the rest of them, Keisha Bottoms, all them. They use these type of forces to push the narrative. That's like Kamala Harris, which we all know that Biden's family can't stand her ass, but they use her to push the narrative because the more they have that black face, the better. Exactly. You're right. The Biden crime family money and Ukraine Nazis. I'm with you 100% on that. Let's jump into the next um story here that I want to talk about. Speaking of immigration and things of that nature, we're going to talk about what recently happened at losing the narrative, because now people want um Mayorkas to resign. Now I've been hearing a lot about people wanting Mayorkas to resign. I'm going to play a clip here of what is being which was talked about here by a former ICE leader. Okay, this gentleman here has been very critical about Mayorkas, and he has even more to say. I'm going to play his clip soon as it loads. What he thinks about this whole situation with Mayorkas. I'm going to interject and talk about some of the points he carries out, and then we'll move to the next topic.
I need to know about relevant financial topics, which is why I really like Blinkist. Sometimes 15 minutes is all I have. They're quick, they focus on the important elements. For me, that's a game changer. Listen for free to the Take Your Seat at the Crypto Table collection, free on Blinkist.
Jackie, for more on the crisis at our southern border, let's bring in former acting ICE director and Heritage visiting fellow, as well as Fox News contributor Tom Homan. Tom, you just heard Brian Yennis's report there down in Eagle Pass. That sector, they've had 1,190 crossings in the last 24 hours. They are up 158%, and it looks like Title 42 is on the way out. What do you make of the situation right now?
Well, look, it's only going to get worse, right? I spent the last 2 days getting angry at the TV set when the secretary is under oath, sitting in front of Congress, saying the border's secure, the border's closed, and we're effectively managing this crisis. He lied under oath. The first sitting cabinet member that I know that lied under oath to members of Congress. He lies every day to the American people. You can't say.
Shout out to this man. He is an American hero. Shout out to Tom Homan. And Tom Homan's right. This man is lying to the American people every day. How are you going to tell in front of under oath that the border is secure when you got up to 158% of crossing immigration rate? If the border was so secure, why do we have Greg Abbott had to purchase 900 buses, and every day there's a bus dropping off immigrants in Washington, D.C. every day? Maximum of 40 per bus. I think he's averaging right now 3 to 4 buses a day coming into Washington. That's 120 people on his side coming to Washington a day. 120 a day. I want you to think of the math on that. There's how many days in a month? There's 30 days in a month, right? Supposedly average. So we're gonna calculate what we're looking at here in Washington right now. 120 people per day times that by 30. That is 3,600 people a month relocating to the nation's capital. And they are being transported all through the US of A. We are not big enough to handle that influx of immigration. Where are we going to put these people? Where are we going to put these folks? If you times 3,600 people right now and you times that by 12, that is 43,000 people going to one place average a freaking year. We're not talking about the other thousands of people, millions that is coming through the border. Let's continue.
The border's closed and secure when you got over 700,000 gotaways. You can't say the border's secure when you got nearly 700 migrants have died on U.S. soil making this trip. You can't say the border's secure when there's enough fentanyl coming across this border that's killed 112,000 people. You can't say.
Mike on. Listen to what he just said. There is so much fentanyl coming into the U.S. It has killed 112,000 people. Where is the war on drugs? Remember the liberals that used to scream they were all about the war on drugs? Remember the liberals that was always on heavy on, we got to make sure that we don't have all these cartels destroying our nation. What happened to them? Oh, I forgot. Any cartel that says that, any um liberal that talks like that, now you are considered to be a conservative, because the blue dog liberals are no longer available. The only ones left is really Joe what is his name? I don't forgot Joe's name. But anyway, Joe from West Virginia, and Joe Manchin, excuse me, Joe Manchin from West Virginia, and the Seminole, okay, aka, even though she's all in supposed to be a part of the Rainbow Coalition, they done disowned her now. They really are. They disowned her now because she's a blue dog Democrat, basically, because she doesn't see the same thing that they see. See, that's how the liberal left has become. The liberals are now progressive. You don't accept drugs and talk about love, peace, and grooming children, you're not part of the clique. Let's continue.
Say the border secure when the Mexican cartels are making billions. The Mexican cartels control our southern border, Griff. We no longer control it. And a chief patrol agent told me he has lost operational control of the border. They can't contain what's coming in right now, even with Title 42.
Mic on. Y'all heard that? Thank you, Tom Server. I appreciate you too. I mean, they can't even contain the border, even with Title 42. So think about that. With Title 42, they can't contain the border. So if they remove Title 42, which the federal judge is temporarily blocked for the time being, it's going to be total mayhem. It's going to be total mayhem. I promise you it will. Let's continue, guys.
If they lift Title 42, God help us.
Well, and the projections are you could have as many as 18,000 a day. You ran ICE. You ran one of the border enforcement agencies. What does that do? How does the Border Patrol, CBP, ICE, how do they deal with something like that?
Well, first of all, we got to understand, even with Title 42, they've arrested 42 people on the FBI screening database. That's what they arrested. Now, we know terrorists, they try to evade law enforcement. They're trained to do that. So if they've arrested 42 successfully, how many of the 700,000 are known as suspected terrorists?
Mic on. I want y'all to listen to that. 760,000 people have came through the border. I want y'all to think about this now. And guess what? I tell you what. That means only 42 has been arrested. You can't make this up, guys. 42 has been arrested. So that means we're got a time bomb in this country everywhere. That is why we got so much violence. And you're right, Jacob. They don't care. You know why they don't care? Because it's about votes, baby. That's what it's about. It's about votes. I mean, it's about votes. I mean, that's just what it is. It's about votes. They don't care. It's about votes. If I can get these votes from you and not the people that stay that's a part of my country that know what I got going on, and I got you in here blind, and all I got to promise you is free money, opportunity. All you got to do is vote for me. Shoot, yeah, you damn right I'll do it. I mean, hell, it's a win-win for me and you. And that's what they're doing. And it's sad. It really is.
Border Patrol's arrested people from 161 countries. Many of those countries support terrorism. So if anybody thinks not a single one of the 700,000 came to this country to do us harm, they got away, then they're ignorant. They're not looking at the facts. And look, the Title 42, they lifted, I just said the Border Patrol's already overwhelmed. Just last month, 67,000 gotaways. Just in 1 month, 67,000 gotaways. We don't know who the hell they even are. So this immigration crisis, this humanitarian crisis, this public safety, public health crisis is turned into a national.
Mic on. Do you see the numbers? Y'all know good and damn well. If this was us as conservatives in control of the border and they were numbers up high like this, you know what would happen. We would get booted from all of our positions. They would call us destroying the country, not giving a rat's behind about what's going on. Y'all know I ain't lying. You know I ain't lying. We would be blasted on every demo on liberal platform there is. So I don't want to hear this. Oh, well, these numbers are screwed, because you know they love to say that these numbers are not accurate. No, they're accurate. They're very much accurate, because this man is definitely on the front lines. In fact, this guy used to be a part of the Trump administration. And let me tell you, the old heads that used to be a part of the administration are still monitoring that border. They still got access, so they know how messy it is. Man, I tell you, you can't make this up.
Security crisis. And I'm angry with the secretary, because if he had 1 ounce of integrity, he would call the White House saying, I no longer can support this open borders agenda because it's put this country at great risk of terrorist attacks. That is just a stone cold fact. So shame on him for continuing to support the open borders, and shame on him for lying under oath in front of Congress.
So, Tom, what should Congress do then? Do we hope that there is some bipartisan effort to stop Title 42 from lifting, to perhaps go after Secretary Mayorkas?
Well, look, even with Title 42, the secretary said, well, that's a CDC thing. I can't control that. But what he can control is the Remain in Mexico program. We sued him to put that back in place. I was a part of that lawsuit. I've written more affidavits for the state of Texas than I ever did as a special agent. So he's got to do the right thing for the American people and do and stand up and tell the White House no. But what Congress can do is do what they did the other day: call this secretary out, call him out, and hopefully we take the House and Senate back and impeach him. He needs to be impeached. He needs to be removed. He has failed. He has been in position for 15 months, almost 16. The president's been in position 16 months. The numbers keep climbing. They haven't done a single thing to slow the flow.
Now you see why. Now you see why they want the ministry of truth. Think about it, guys. Think about it. Mayorkas is nothing but a pawn, a stew pigeon. They know that if they get that, if they don't stop the flow, they got to get one of them not to be controlled, the House or Congress. They know Congress is already, the House and the Senate, right? They already know the House is pretty much Democrat control for now, but they know that Senate is still Republican held, conservative held. They are trying to do everything they can to slow down the information because they feel like if they could just get another couple of liberals in the Senate part, they're good. Okay. And then they can also focus on trying to hold up, to continue having a stronghold on the House. But it's not going to work because people are being affected by this. Families are losing loved ones because of the crime increase from these cartels and these immigrants. You got immigrants hurting not only just women and children, they're hurting bystanders and all. So that is why people now, these liberals, are losing their mind. Okay? Because they try to use the Ukraine as a distraction. It ain't working anymore. People catching on. So now they're trying to use other things as a distraction. Now they're trying to say, oh, well, if I go up here and I get Elon Musk to continue to go out here and have everybody say Elon Musk the bad guy, they'll focus on that and then we can reel them back in. That's not working either. People are tired. They want the truth. They want the truth. That is why this ministry, that's why Mayorkas is also heading this. Because not only can he help out the Democratic Party, he can also save his own behind because he knows his behind is on the line. He knows that if those spots get flipped on midterms, if the red wave comes, because it's coming, he's out the door. That's why he's trying to do everything he can to save his booty. You can't make this up. That's why this is all coming to fruition. This ain't to give us no information, guys. It is to save behinds because a lot of people's about to get impeached because of this red wave. The rapid 10,000, I don't know. I know you say shut Twitter down, but you got to look at it. If Elon Musk wants it to be a fair playing field, and Twitter is important because it gets a lot of information out there, I think that this is a good move. And I think what they're going to try to do next is they're going to try to talk on Elon into letting them control Twitter through this information, this ministry of truth mess, and it ain't going to work. My man says, the Ukraine, for anyone paying attention, knows that this exposes the truth about. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why again, everybody's trying to save their butt. That's why they're trying to get this ministry of truth up and popping. Let's continue with what he's saying here. Finish this on out.
Even now, we're lifting Title 42. They're going to spend almost $1 billion building soft-sided facilities to process and release quicker, which is just going to tell the cartels, bring more, because they're releasing it even quicker now. It's just everything they've done is it acts as a magnet and not a single thing, not one enforcement strategy to secure that border.
Well, Tom, we are less than 30 days away from that date, May 23rd, of Title 42 lifting. Shall see what happens and what Congress does, if anything, between now and then. Tom Homan, thank you for joining us. Jackie?
Thanks for having me.
Y'all, shout out to this guy here, Tom Homan, a real OG in the game. Now, again, like he said, everybody wants mayorkas to walk away. He has lied, saying that everything is safe with the border. And here's another clip of him saying that. Then we're gonna move on to the next story because I don't want to dig in too much. Let's go ahead on and hit this one up right here.
The gentleman yields back, Mr. Stubbe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In May of last year, at a Senate committee hearing, you stated that white supremacy was, and I quote, the greatest threat. I'm over here. The greatest threat to the homeland. Earlier this month, you doubled down and again claimed that, and I quote, domestic violent extremism was the biggest threat. When you say that term, do you include in that term Black Lives Matter and Antifa?
Congressman, let me be precise because you're not quoting me accurately, and precision is
I watched the video. I am.
Domestic violent extremism is the greatest terrorism-related threat.
Okay, so the greatest terrorism threat. Do you include Black Lives Matter and Antifa in that definition?
Congressman, I do not consider Black Lives Matter.
So the riots that we saw over the summer of 2020 and the killing of David Dorn by an Antifa member, that wasn't domestic terror?
Congressman, it is not in my province to address a particular case.
Okay, well, what about the riots at the Department of the Interior right here in Washington, D.C. by a leftist environmental group? Would you term that domestic terrorism?
Congressman, I leave it to the Department of Justice to define domestic terrorism with.
See, this is what makes me mad with these jokers. They know the answer. Black Lives Matter killed David Dorn. We saw it in black and in color, HD 4K. We seen the riots, 4K. We also seen what Antifa has done too. Now, if the things were reversed, if it was a white supremacist group, for say the KKK were burning some stuff up, or the skinheads were killing some other people of the same color, like a white person or whatever, would we bust out? Would he say then that's up to the DOJ and that's under my jurisdiction? No, I know what he would say. He would say that's a domestic terrorist situation. That's a domestic terrorist group. So miss me with the bull. We know what you're doing, sir. We're not crazy. We know what you're doing. You're full of BS. You know, and we know that you can't say that because you got to make sure that you keep your cushy job, and you got to make sure that you keep brown nosing Biden in the game so you can keep them pockets fat and you can keep doing their dirty work. We know the game, player. Okay, we know it. Don't be acting like you're playing chess over here, because really you're playing checkers. Because we know what it is. Let's continue with this, with the lies of mayorkas.
With respect to particular incidents.
Well, you're the Department of Homeland Security, and you're saying that this is the #1 threat to the homeland. So I'm trying to get an understanding of, obviously now, based on your testimony, you don't include leftist radicalized groups, only white nationalists and right radicalized groups. Meanwhile, Customs and Border Protection have had over 2.4 million interactions with illegal immigrants at the border since the Biden administration took office, with an estimated 600,000 more illegal immigrants making their way into our country undetected. So using your definition that we just flushed out here, how many cases involving white supremacists and domestic terrorists have you referred to DOJ for prosecution?
Congressman, let me
simple. Do you not have the number? It's a simple number.
You've made some profoundly inaccurate statements that I would like the opportunity to correct.
I'm specifically asking you a question. You just clarified domestic terrorism is a threat to the homeland, #1 threat. And I'm asking you, how many referrals from Homeland Security have you made to DOJ for white supremacy or domestic terrorism?
Congressman, I will provide you with that information.
So you don't know?
Subsequent to this hearing. I do not have.
Can you name one case?
That statistic.
Can you name one case of a referral from DHS to DOJ for domestic terrorism?
Congressman, I will provide the data to you.
I'm asking you can't name one case.
And let me just say.
Okay, so you can't name one case yet. According to a new report from the U.S. Department of Justice, almost half of all the criminals prosecuted in federal courts in 2018 were aliens, charged with crimes ranging from drug trafficking to murder and to kidnapping. And the vast majority, 38,000, were illegal immigrants, illegal aliens. But it's still, domestic terrorism is the #1 cause of your concerns.
Oh, shout out to Stu. He's killing him right now. You are the Department of Homeland Security. You're the big dog. You're supposed to know every case that refers across your desk. I mean, if you ask an FBI director what was one of the major cases he had to really refer to the DOJ or get his paws on, he would know. If you ask a sheriff of your local city or whatever was a big case that he had to get his hands dirty and do some investigation, he would know. So how you don't know this, sir? You are the man that's supposed to keep the country safe. You're supposed to know all these things. You're supposed to know all these things. No, he's not slimy, Elliot. Slimy is too nice to call mayorkas. Mayorkas is a straight up jackass. He don't know what he's doing. Okay? He got the job because of, once again, affirmative action. Okay? He's Spanish descent and he ain't got no clue what the hell he doing. Because if he knew what the hell he was doing, he would be able to answer these questions with rapid speed. If he knew what the hell he was doing, we would not be in front of Congress and them explaining why the border ain't secure. Can't make this up, man. This is who's controlling the country right now. These are the people that get paid the big bucks that's supposed to make us safe. God help us all. Let's continue, man.
Texas is one of the only border states that keeps detailed statistics on crimes committed by aliens specifically. The latest report from the state of Texas reports that between June 1st of 2011 and November 30th of 2021, 356,000 criminal aliens were booked into Texas jails, of which 243,000 were identified as being in the country illegally. Those illegal aliens were charged with more than 401,000 criminal offenses, including 742 murders, 47,000 assaults, 7,500 burglaries, and over 11,000 sexual assaults and other sex crimes. And that is just in the state of Texas. And you can't name one referral that DHS has made on a domestic terrorism charge to the DOJ with all of those numbers. Just in April, in a 24-hour period of time, CBP arrested at least 5 gang members who illegally crossed the border. And it's been touched on in this committee about fentanyl. I come from Florida. I hail from Florida. I represent Florida, and fentanyl is a large problem in the state of Florida. And now we are at the point where fentanyl is the #1 cause of death of Americans between the ages of 18 and 45. Do you agree with that statement? That fentanyl is the #1 cause of death between the ages of 18 and 45 for Americans.
I'm aware of that statistic, and it is a tremendous threat.
So that's
to
a
the
yes.
well-being.
And therefore, since it's the leading cause of death, this is what you've captured at the border. More fentanyl to kill every American has been seized at the border. And you say it just comes in through ports of entry. And so if we're only seizing that at ports of entry or other places you guys are capturing it, just like there's 600,000 got away illegal immigrants, there's got to be a tremendous amount of fentanyl that's coming in through the southern border that you guys are not stopping, that has now leading cause of death.
The time of the gentleman
in America.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
Mic on.
You know, shout out, man, to this American right here. Okay. Shout out to him. That is um Representative Stubbe. Okay. This is a man who knows what the hell he's talking about. You don't, man, let me tell you, you don't get OGs like that anymore. You really don't. You don't get OGs like that. This guy is a class act. He really wanted to make sure that he held mayorkas to the fire. And that's what we need. We need more representatives like that. But see, here's my thing about this though. We hold them to the fire, right? And I'm gonna get out of here now with this. We hold them to the fire, but we never ever give them any kind of consequence. That's the only thing I have a problem with right now with the Republican Party. They keep doing these hearings with these guys. They keep exposing the information, but when are we going to take action? We need to get action now. Mayorkas is a walking terroristic threat to the American democracy and safety of our country. You are basically in cahoots with the cartels if you're not openly or actively trying to protect that border. We have had more criminal upbringing and uprising in these border towns than we have ever seen before because of this type of negligence. It's got to stop. Our children don't deserve this. Our wives don't deserve this. And we as men don't deserve it either. And I'm just being honest. Something's got to give. Can't make this up, man. You really can't. Either way it goes, guys, I just wanted to talk about this. I was going to talk about the Elon Musk piece, but we'll probably do a video on that because it's getting a little late. I do still have a little late night dinner with my beautiful wife. So the moral of the story is, guys, is we as a people, we as Americans, we got to start pushing for what is right. We got to start repping for our constitutional right. That means we got to get active and we got to make sure that we are selecting the right conservatives that's going to represent us, not someone who says they are a Republican / a politician. We need a person that is willing to get on the fighting grounds with us and stay in the thick of this. If we can't select politicians like that, we are going to be doomed. Black America, if you're starting to take the red pill, come on in. There's more to come. America is the most beautiful country that you can ever have a shot at. This is the only country you can come in with nothing and turn it into something. This is the only country where you can go up here and you can talk about how much you love it and you can get other people to join in with you. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by these liberals. The only thing they want to do is make sure their pockets fat and make sure that your behind is behind. And I ain't talking about behind no curve either. Behind the bar, aka the 8-ball. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all tonight. Please like and jump in the comment section, support the channel. Also, too, if you can do me a huge favor, please continue to support me at all costs. I love you guys so much. You guys have been amazing. This has been a great week for me. Please keep spreading the word. Keep telling people about me. My subscribers are going up. It makes me feel good to have this type of love. I'm an easy guy to please. when I have 12 people in the room, I act like I got 300. When I got 20 people in the chat, I think I got 1,000. When I get 50 people in the chat, I think I got 5,000. So imagine what I'd be if I thought I had 1,000 in the room. That's just the type of guy I am. I love my subscribers and I love my fans and I love America. I'm going to try, man. I'm going to try. Just get in my comments section. Tell me what you think about tonight's broadcast and tell me what you think about who we need to get on the show. I know me and Jericho, I'm going to try to link up with Jericho again next week. And I'm definitely going to try to link up with some more people next week as well, trying to build the show back up so we can keep the momentum going. I love you guys. Take care of yourself and each other. You know what it is. Be safe. And whatever you do, don't let these liberals fool you. That's all I got. Peace.